because I was actually going to be kind of tracking what you just said, because Michael has to leave, and thank you, Darlene, good stuff, and I hope to be seeing you in New York around that UN award time. Is there anybody here who, as Michael was talking about this whole prize idea, going to the diabetes segment, is there anybody here who thinks that's their bailiwick, that's something they could, in terms of just putting this on the ground, on the court right now, if there's somebody in the audience who's has that kind of talent, the skill set to help make that happen, please get with Michael before he leaves and create that little dream team to start moving that forward ASAP. So if that's your thing.
So with regard to prizes specifically, the whole concept of using a prize structure to motivate work on combating aging has historically been considered to be rather unpromising, because essentially people are saying, well, either you've got to have some sort of really reliable indicator of biological age, which of course is something that gerontologists have been looking for without success for a very long time, or alternatively you've got to do a really, really, really long experiment. It's going to take forever for the prize to actually be won, because you've got to measure death rates way after something has happened. And a couple of years ago, I was speaking to Peter Diamandis about this, and he basically said, well, look, go away and find me a solution to this problem. So I did. And the solution essentially is one that derives from the area of combating aging that I focus on, and that, of course, I spoke about yesterday and the day before, and we'll speak about more shortly, namely regenerative medicine. Regenerative medicine has the advantage that because it's actually reversing biological age rather than just slowing down its course, you see an effect much more quickly. So in other words, you can take people who are already getting on, maybe they're already in late middle age, 70 years old, for example, and if you can do things to them that genuinely make them considerably younger biologically, and then you can look at their mortality rates, something that really can be measured precisely, whether someone's alive or dead is fairly easy to determine, and you can get something that has good scientific statistical significance from a manageable number of people in a manageable amount of time, like only a few years. So I put together the nuts and bolts of a prize structure for Peter a couple of years ago, and he's been pretty damn interested in this ever since. He always lists it among the potential prizes that the X Prize Foundation is going to want to fund and so on. But that's as far as it's got. It's really sitting at this very early embryonic stage, waiting for people to run with it. So when you guys talk to Michael and others about the possibility of using a prize structure for this sort of thing, that's the sort of thing that maybe you should keep in mind. And obviously I can give you more information about the details of what I proposed if you're interested. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Anything else? Any quick questions for these guys? So think about who needs to be the perfect dream team partner for them, and thank you very much, you guys. David?
I'm wired. I'm going to go down an agenda, but if you have something that's really pressing, you think jumps into your mind, this is an open brainstorm session. All we're looking for is optimistic, positive ideas. Anything negative, we can hold that for next time. But I just want to go down, if there's no subject anybody wants to cover right away, is a question that's been pressing for a long time to a lot of people. And that is, why hasn't a billionaire, a large company, a large endowment, a large foundation, well-funded foundation, jumped on this bandwagon? And I know part of it is education and awareness, but there are a lot of people, Silicon Valley, for example, who are very forward-thinking, high-tech people, who know Aubrey, and they know a lot of these things that are going on. They know a little bit about us, yet nobody has taken up the banner yet. And I just want to throw this out to see if there's any response as to why some of these really ultra-wealthy individuals haven't started leading the charge.
In my experience, they're afraid of looking foolish in the eyes of their friends. One of the things that ultra-wealthy or wealthy people get is they get pitched things every day, and they have to be very careful to avoid scams, so there's a certain skepticism that starts, and this area has had a lot of snake oil salesmen in it, but I think it's more fear of being ridiculed by their friends. You invested in that? Boy, you must really not understand things.
Richard, I wonder if you could elaborate on that for a moment from your personal perspective. I mean, I know that both you and Pierluigi have been reasonably coy about your involvement with Sierra. Can you talk about what your personal involvement was in this sort of issue?
Well, I got excited about this 10 years ago when I was introduced to Bill Andrews, and a friend of mine determined that Bill was credible. And I listened to Bill for 4 hours, and that day and the next, the friend and I raised $1.1 million, some of it our own money. And credibility is real important, and proper introduction, that peer pressure that the fellow talked about this morning. And we've gone along the 10 years. So far, everybody concluded had put in $28 million into Sierra Sciences. And we have uncovered one big truth, and that is that it's possible to turn on telomerase. We didn't know that until 2 years ago. So took the first 8 years to find out that there were, in fact, molecules that would turn on telomerase. And so now that's established, and everybody that's interested in the field says, well, it followed the normal course of scientific investigation. First was, you guys are crazy, it'll never work. Can't possibly be true. And then when we said, well, it looks like we have it, they said, well, nobody will be able to duplicate it. And then when people could duplicate it, of course, it moved to the third stage, which is, we knew it all along. So okay.
I was asking really, from a personal perspective, you could probably have gone out and been more public about your involvement, and perhaps encourage other wealthy individuals to get involved. By example, I'm just interested to understand why you've done, well, obviously you haven't done nothing by any means, but...
We started with a conventional structure. We raised, I don't know, 3 or 4 million on the first round, and then we raised a few more million on a second round. And by the time we got done with the second round, we found that there wasn't any interest in a third round because it had gone too long. It started out as a VC-type deal with angels, and those people get tired fairly quickly. So then it devolved down to Pierluigi and I, and so for the last 5 or so years, we each put in $150K a month. And that's a level that we can sustain for quite a while. Now, we'd like to find another person or even two, since we could accelerate the work. We'll continue even if we can't. I mean, it'll just... Okay. Well, one of the ways that I think it can work with other people if you can explain it, get them on a monthly payment plan. People are used to kind of monthly payment plans. You know, you pay $10 a month for this and $50 a month for a phone. And for people that have some wealth, if you've got a project that needs $10,000 a month or $100,000 a month and you can find a few people to do it, I think that has merit. None of these people want to be the only one either. I've been the only one in deals, and that does not feel good because you wonder whether you're doing the right thing or not. But if you've got a partner like I do here with Pierluigi, and he's a smart guy, I feel a lot better.